It's Enable on the outside. Enable and Magical, and they're well clear of the others. Enable and Frankie Dettori. The ARC winner is the Breeders' Cup Turf winner too.
The fact file shows that 8 is the magic number for Enable. 8 Group 1 wins and £8 million in the bank. Those surface statistics tell the whole story of Enable and just exactly why she is the most important and recognisable horse in the world right now. But what are the mechanics of Enable? What is it about her that makes her so good and so difficult to beat? Well, part one is simply the brilliance, the ability of Enable. None more so was that evident than in the 2017 renewal of the King George. Only a 3-year-old, just 13 days after the Irish Oaks. And look at how she destroys a high-class field, including Ulysses, including Highland Reel, very much in the zone at this stage and winning by 4.5 lengths. That, for Enable, was her day of reckoning. That was when she really came to fruition and came to prominence as the most important horse at that stage. And she's continued to develop that story. Every Hollywood story has some triumph over adversity, and it needs that context when we look at Enable winning her second arc. And the other part about Enable's mechanics is, tactically, she's so simple and so straightforward. Whenever we think of Enable, whenever we see her in action, she's in that second wave, and then she puts in a surge. More often than not, it's a sustained surge, which proves too hard for the rest to handle. And that was the case here at Longchamp. Her second arc. Horses have only won the arc twice, 7 of them. She became number 8, and that tells you something about the history breaking that Enable is capable of. Important to note that Sea of Class, of course, had a troubled passage through. Just look at Frankie Dettori in this day and age of whip and the whip debate. Look at his aerodynamic style in the finish. No whip needed, despite the race being the most prestigious in the world. Aerodynamic by Dettori, favouring that over the whip. He knows the filly, he knows the race, and that is part what helped him and her win a second arc, in turn becoming something of a history maker and a game changer, and that is really what sends Enable through. So horses tend not to do what Enable has managed to do in her career. No arc winner had ever followed up at the Breeders' Cup, but if there's a trend, she will book it, and Enable at this stage against Magical. Now, we talked about the style and the tactical strategy behind Enable. Second wave, making the first play and then proving hard to catch. What Ryan Moore aboard Magical, next to her in the purple colours, he wants to ask a different question of Enable in the Breeders' Cup turf. And just watch the strategy at play around the home turn. Frankie's searching for a run. He's full of horse, but he's just deciding where he needs to go. Ryan plays the more daring route towards the inside, and it works out perfectly for Magical and for Ryan Moore, so that a different question is being asked of Enable. Ryan gets the jump into the straight, just half a length in front. And from that point forward, Enable's got a different game to play. But needless to say, everything that's thrown at her, she comes up with. She's got answers for everything, and it would be easy after the Breeders' Cup turf to say that's it for her career. She's done so much, more than any other, but she's a history maker and a game changer, and she was kept in training as a 5-year-old to do more great things, and her reappearance in the Eclipse showed that all of the fire was still in the belly and all of the fuel was still in that injection tank. This is her beating Magical in the Eclipse on her reappearance by 3/4 of a length, same distance as in the Breeders' Cup turf. So horses simply don't do what Enable has done. Horses aren't supposed to win a King George 2 weeks after the Irish Oaks. Horses aren't supposed to win an arc off just one run. Horses aren't supposed to win a Breeders' Cup after winning the arc. She's done all that and then more besides. No horse in history has ever regained the King George crown, but she's in the market for doing exactly that. She's the most important horse in the world. We can see all the reasons why, and there are more. And Enable, this is potentially her crowning moment in the King George.